everyone, Chris Salvaterra from HBO miniseries here. Uh, Thanks to everybody for all their submissions. They were really impressive. I think what was most impressive for me was the experimental nature of a lot of the films. There was originality, um, and a quality of trying to do things that feel different, which I find really compelling and always a good way to go. I guess there were some questions that people wanted to ask. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, um, but I'm here working away in Santa Monica, and therefore providing you some answers to the questions. So here we go. If you were in the student's shoes now, what would you be doing to prepare yourself to enter the television and/or film industries? Simply put, I would be working on my craft, whatever that is. If that's filmmaking, if it's writing, whatever it is, just do it, and do it repeatedly, until you are dead, essentially. This is a life's pursuit if you choose to do it. Number two, what do you look for when looking for slash working with new filmmakers? Um, Best way to put it is just an interesting point of view, something that feels different and unique and solely from that person's point of view. And I would also say an ability to tell a story. So not just a visual style, but also a substantive narrative quality as well. What do you wish someone would have told you when you were starting in your career? That's easy. The thing I think about often is the head of a studio told me once that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And at the time I was sprinting, but now I'm much more of a marathon runner with regard to my career. Next question, whenever you doubted yourself or felt like giving up, what was the one thing that kept you going and got you where you are today? I never doubted myself. Just kidding. I definitely have doubted myself, and I have my good and my bad days still. Um, I would say my response to that is that I'm so passionate about what I do, and that I never, well, no, not, I've learned not to look to external results to keep the fire under me lit. Because I love what I do so much that the work is its own reward, or at least that's the way that I approach it. Next one. If you could recommend one skill for college students to learn to give them a better shot in the industry today, what would it be? Um, Unwavering focus and determination, simply put. I'm going to answer that question across all crafts and skills. And I think you just have to kind of burn the boats and decide that this is what you want to do, that you love it, and you're just not going to stop. What is the worst, most common mistake that new members in the industry make? I have two responses to that, or two facets to this response. I would say trying to be something they're not. I see young people, and this was the case when I was starting out as well. Um, I see people come to Hollywood and they seem to be playing a role, because they think that's how things are done. And to me, it was always fairly transparent. So just be yourself. You're unique. You have your own point of view, and your own way of doing things. Additionally, I would say another mistake that is made is people being a bit clueless about or oblivious to um, how precious people's time is and how busy they are. So you have to find a way to be thoughtful and politely persistent, as far as people, and then be very, very judicious with people's time. Next question. How do you get hired at a company like HBO? interesting. That's an extremely broad question because HBO is a big company, and are you talking about programming exec? Are you talking about marketing? Are you talking about as a director, as a writer, etc.? I think the broad answer to that broad question is just do great work. It's unlikely that you're going to step into a company that's established like HBO without having some sort of track record of having worked on your craft. In my case, I was able to point to the movies that I've worked on over the years, especially the ones when I was a participant, like Syriana, Good Night and Good Luck, and The Visitor, and basically say, look, these were films, but they reflect a premium cable sensibility. I've got a lot of movies under my belt. I've worked with a lot of directors, a lot of writers, and that I think got me the job. How did you decide that this is what you wanted to do for your career? I've always loved stories, particularly movies and television, but also comic books, literature. It's just my whole life. It's been a life's passion. It's not something. What I do now is far from. It's not something that I identified at an early age. But as I look back now, I love storytelling, and that has led me here. What are the best areas to live to give you a leg up in the industry? There's no one place where all people in entertainment live, and they're all making deals with one another and everybody else is shut out. Los Angeles is a really big place. So my advice would be the cheapest area you can find. Keep your overhead down when you're starting out. And that's good advice for your entire career. But especially when you're starting out, because you can, do things that other people might not be willing to do or might not be able to afford to do. Internships, do extra work for people, that kind of thing, because you're not necessarily feeling the pressure, and you're also not so desperate for the high-paying job. I could recommend particular areas, but essentially that's the answer. Last question: how important are connections and who you know? That's a tough question. I would say they're important insofar as you have working relationships with people that can be productive and help move your career along. But to simplify it, you just need to focus on your craft and your work initially, and the connections will come, because the people in Hollywood are, self-serving, and if we need talented people, and if we can identify the talent, we will establish connections with them. So whatever it is you're working on, if it's your script, your film, whatever that is, if you make it the best it can possibly be, that will be the thing that opens the doors for you, as opposed to just going to a party and introducing yourself and saying you're working on a script or on a film. Who isn't? Other people might give you different advice along those lines, but that's what has worked for me in the past, and continues to work for me. That's the entirety of the questions, I believe. Congratulations to everyone. No matter how your film is recognized, it's a tremendous achievement to complete a film, to conceive of it and make it, and bring it to market as you've done. You should all be very, very proud. And thanks very much for having me be a part of this.